But now it's time to continue with your extravaganza here on what night is this? Friday?
Saturday.
Oh my God, I don't even know what night.
You don't even know what night it is?
Oh my God.
What the heck is wrong with you?
All right, thank you.
All right. Remember the movie The Blind Side? Well, I have watched that time and time again, literally. I am a repeat offender of songs and movies. Like if I like something, I will just keep either listening to it over and over again, like Ambrosia, You're the Only Woman, or That's How Much I Feel. That's how much I feel for you, baby. Or Christopher Cross, Ride Like the Wind. Gonna ride like the wind, ride like the wind. Doo 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 doo. That's a great song. That is a great, like, listen, if you don't want to drive fast, don't put that song on in your car with the windows down, because that's a good one. Anyway, so The Blind Side is definitely one of those movies I have watched repeatedly over the years. It's a good movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but anyway, it's really good. So The Blind Side has just been one of those films for me. Now, it's definitely a feel-good movie, and it was said to have been based on a true story, which it was. Now, Michael Orr, who was sadly bounced around in foster care because his mother was an addict and couldn't take care of him, became friends with Sean Toohey, and this is where his journey to a real family began. The Tooheys took him in after learning that he was sleeping outside, and it was wintertime. Now, time goes on, and Michael becomes a Toohey family member, and they get him a tutor to get him on the school football team. And he was so good that colleges were trying to recruit him, and he ends up at the University of Mississippi, otherwise known as Ole Miss, and eventually gets drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in 2009, which is when the movie came out and was based on the 2006 book with the same name. So here's where it gets crazy. I mean, this story, there's a lot to it, and I'm sure there's a lot more that we do not know, but it is just crazy. Sandra Bullock played Michael's mom, Leanne, and Tim McGraw plays Michael's dad, Sean, in the movie. Now, that's not the crazy part, but I did just love Sandra Bullock and Tim McGraw in that movie. Like, I just thought they were, like, if they're not married to each other, but they could have been in that movie. Like, they just, the chemistry between them, shut up. Like, it was good. It was really, really good. So Michael recently spoke out against the people who took him in and said that the Tooheys never adopted him, but instead placed him in a conservatorship. So I guess they told him they were adopting him, but that didn't happen. So why didn't the Toohey family just adopt Michael? I mean, they clearly had the money to adopt him, and they had already taken him in and made him a part of their family. Sean, the dad, the real dad, did come out and say that the conservatorship was to protect Michael and was to satisfy the NCAA because both him and Leanne were alma mater of the University of Mississippi. So they didn't want it to look like they were forcing Michael to choose that school. But in the end, Michael said that he chose it because his family went there. So Michael was over the age of 18 when the paper signing took place. So allegedly, the Tooheys, per Michael, tricked him into signing what he thought was adoption paperwork, but it was called a conservatorship due to his age. I guess when you're over the age of 18, and I mean, it really makes sense, you can't be adopted. I mean, but can you? And I guess it would actually vary state to state. So there's a lot that's going on with that. Now, as a conservator, from what I read, you are required to have ongoing oversight by the court, which means continuously having an attorney on hand. And that's expensive. So, that costs the Tooheys money and time and a whole bunch of effort. Now, in Tennessee, a conservatorship can end when the person passes away or gets released from the court. And this has not happened yet, but Michael has filed to have the conservatorship ended immediately. Michael just found out this past February that he was never legally adopted by the Tooheys. And now Michael, I don't know I'm thinking he's 34 now. So this situation has been ongoing for many, many years. I'm not quite sure how he didn't know he wasn't adopted, who told him he wasn't really adopted, and how the conservatorship came in, and he's very angry about this whole thing. I mean, you have to play devil's advocate and kind of look at both sides. I mean, the Tuohys took him in, they gave him a nice home, they, made him part of the family. I just don't see what their objective would be to trick him. That's all I'm saying. I'm going on that side of the fence for this. I don't know, Michael's side of the story, but it just seems kind of crazy that they would do something like this for any financial gain. But let's continue. Let's just keep going on. Now, the conservatorship piece of it is similar to what happened to Britney Spears. She was not lied to, though, about being adopted, because it was her dad who held her in the conservatorship because it was said that she could not take care of herself. So that's what happens. Like, if you cannot take care of yourself, which Michael was by himself. So he was placed into the conservatorship, just like Britney Spears. She had the breakdown and things like that. She had children. She just could not take care of herself. A little bit of a different situation, but kind of the same. Now, Michael can take care of himself and make decisions for himself. So the hold should have been released years ago. And that's where this, a lot of tricky things are kind of coming into play with this whole story. Why is the conservatorship still in place when he's again, don't quote me on his age. I think he's 34. That's old. Like, you don't need to be in a conservatorship unless you really need to be. He's got a life of his own. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. Now, another huge factor coming into play is that Michael is saying he never received one dime from the movie The Blind Side, which made over $300 million at the box office. Allegedly, the Tuohys made $225,000 each off the film, plus 2.5% of the net proceeds, which is not a lot, really. Now, I'm not sure if the $309 million the movie made is net, but if it is, that's only a little over $77,000. However, Michael said he received zero. So 77,000 or zero, you would take the 77,000. 225,000 plus the 77. That's a good little chunk of change. Not only did mom and dad get $225,000 each, their 3 children each received the same amount. So Michael has every right to be furious if this is the case, to get his fair share, since the entire premise of the movie is about him. The whole movie is about Michael. The entire thing. To me, he should be getting more than that. Like, that's nothing. The book, do you get something from the book too? This is his story. This is Michael Orr's story. Now, the Tuohys, I get it. They got something because they're part of the story too. But Michael is the focus, the main character of the entire film, basically, because the Tuohys took Michael in. Because of Michael, the story happened. Without Michael, there would be no story. So, I don't think should we get more than that. I'm just saying. Now, people are questioning why Michael waited so long to take action on this whole thing. Well, if he only found out in February that he was never really adopted, there's your answer. He didn't know. But again, I don't know. That seems a little bit of a grayish area to me. Sandra Bullock is also being criticized. Why? I love her. Like, why would you criticize Sandra Bullock for anything, really? Unless you did something bad, but she did nothing. And people are saying that she should return her Oscar because of what's going on. Like, stop. Come on. That to me is ridiculous. She should not return her Oscar. She was fantastic in that movie. She did a great job. Even if there was no Leanne Toohey, Sandra Bullock would make you think that there was really a Leanne Toohey. Like, come on. She's not giving her Oscar back. Don't do it, Sandra. Keep your Oscar. You deserved it. You deserve it. You deserve to keep it. It needs to stay on the shelf or in the case. Wherever you got the Oscar, keep it. I love you. Come on. Who comes up with these ideas? I just don't she should give her Oscar back because the real people from the movie are doing crazy things to each other. No, she has nothing to do with that. Anyway. So very sad though. Sandra did recently lose her longtime partner, Brian, to ALS. So that's another reason. Can you just lay off Sandra Bullock? I can't even believe this is a topic of conversation. I can't even believe I read these things. Like, why would anyone even suggest she gives her trophy back? Is it a trophy, really? It's an award. Sorry. It really is a trophy, though. It's pretty good. Pretty good trophy. In the end, Michael is walking away from the family that helped get him to a good place in life, but they should have been open and honest if this is the whole case, because in the end, all of the dirty water floats to the top, no matter what. You can run, but you can never hide. Now, again, I don't know the whole story. I mean, I'm just going according to what I've read, what is out there. I mean, I don't know. It's such a tricky thing. You know, you got a family who was doing a good thing, but boy, are they getting criticized. And they didn't need the money. They don't need the money. Like, I guess Sean Toohey had a business or businesses that he sold for, I don't know, billions or something, like a lot of money or millions. I don't know. They don't need the money. They don't need it. However, I would think that as a conservatorship, you have to oversee your conservator's finances. So if it's true that he didn't receive a dime from the movie, well, they should have known. They would know that because they're his conservators, right? So they would know.